Mr. Lynds, President.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. As mentioned, my name is Grant Lynds. I'm the President of the Intellectual Property Institute of Canada, frequently referred to as IPIC. Thank you for inviting IPIC to present to you our recommendations for Budget 2019 and to answer any questions that you may have about our recommendations. As you may know, IPIC is the Canadian Professional Association of Patent Agents, Trademark Agents, and Lawyers practicing in the area of intellectual property. As this government continues to take steps to support Canadian innovation and economic growth, we believe that our membership is uniquely positioned to help support the government's objectives. Our members help protect investments in innovation that businesses of all sizes make and therefore form the backbone of this country's innovative industry. IPIC was also excited to hear that this committee has chosen to focus the theme for the pre-budget consultations on how to ensure Canada's competitiveness. I've often been asked over the past few months, especially over the summer, for my thoughts and impressions on the national IP strategy. I always start by providing credit to Minister Baines and other members of government for recognizing the importance of IP to every stage in the life cycle of a business's growth, and therefore its importance to Canada's economic growth. And quite frankly, our members are extremely excited that we have a national IP strategy. It's the core of what we do every day, and to have it enshrined in a strategy makes them very excited. They see their ambitions and their clients' work product to be a part of the government's agenda. I'm often sometimes asked if there's anything I believe is missing from that national IP strategy, and in response, I usually say that the strategy is missing what we would call financial policy incentives to encourage Canadian businesses to develop, protect, and commercialize their IP. Now, in last year's Standing Committee on Finance report, in preparation for Budget 2018, the committee recommended that the government create an incentive for business to protect their IP by creating a first patent program with a similar design to that launched by the Government of Quebec provincially. This program would assist with the expenses incurred by small and medium sized businesses when obtaining their first patent. The committee also recommended last year that the government establish incentives for IP development and commercialization through a commercialization coupon for researchers receiving federal grants, and an innovation box tax incentive for business revenue derived from commercialization of the IP. And the expression innovation box or IP box you've likely heard comes from a checkbox on tax forms to identify revenues derived from exploiting or leveraging intellectual property and applying a reduced tax rate to that revenue. Now, these recommendations last year were ultimately not adopted in the Budget 2018, but we believe the need still exists now more than ever and certainly aligns with that national IP strategy. And in fact, there was one recommendation about the need to modernize the Canadian tax system also to ensure it drives investment and innovation from this government's Advisory Council on Economic Growth, the third report, I believe, in December of last year. And that was titled the Investing in a Resilient Canadian Economy. And the statement there certainly recognized this advancement, stating, while investment in physical capital such as factories and equipment once was the primary driver of economic growth, today it is intellectual capital that powers the economy. The value of intellectual property licensed in Canada, for example, has risen from $56 million 30 years ago to $4.5 billion today, an 80-fold increase. And Canadian companies are increasingly must compete with companies based anywhere in the world. That report continued to recommend that Canada introduce favorable tax treatment of intangible assets and intellectual property, put all sectors of the economy on a level playing field, and maintain competitive corporate tax rates in the face of changing global conditions. So IPIC encourages this committee to once again call on the government in your report to create financial incentives for Canadian businesses to generate and protect their IP. Many countries around the world are starting to see success from introducing this type of IP box tax incentive, and Canada's major trading partners are starting to notice. And as an example, just last year, the United States introduced a new tax incentive, often referred to as called Patent Box Light, as they lowered the corporate tax rate on foreign-derived income from licensing IP. It's sometimes called Patent Box Light because the U.S. did not go for as far on the IP box incentive as some jurisdictions, such as the United Kingdom. And we submit that that presents an opportunity for Canada to ensure our competitiveness by adopting an IP box tax regime in Canada that would be comparable to that of the United Kingdom, not just focusing on revenue derived from patents, but also other forms of intellectual property. Therefore, that's enshrined in our written report of our submission of suggesting and recommending the creation of an IP box tax incentive through Budget 2019. And the second recommendation in there focuses on what we call the first patent. And this is really recognition that we're recommending a rebate for startups. These are small, medium enterprise businesses that are starting up to take that important first step of attaining patent protection. Now, in Quebec's launched a first patent program since 2015. And what it does is offers eligible small and medium-sized businesses a subsidy on expenses relating to obtaining their first patent. They have not previously obtained a patent. We want to encourage those SMEs to take that step and, if you will, get on the patent regime. And the demand for that program was so great, the funds were quickly exhausted in less than a year. Our submission is that a similar program at the federal level would allow Canadian inventors, startups, and SMEs who are at the critical point of developing an invention and want to seek that patent protection but may not yet have the financial resources to do so. And by protecting their inventions early and allocating their resources to commercialization of their business, they will be better placed to establish their business and in the future improve their chances of scaling up their business, growing it, both in the country and internationally. In fact, as a patent and trademark agent and a lawyer practicing in this area, I often consult with new clients who don't even recognize sometimes that what they're doing may be subject to patent protection and have that ability to seek that first patent. So there's a real aspect of education when dealing with this, and the first patent program would certainly help those SMEs get on the patent program and learn what it takes to commit the resources, financial and otherwise, to get into the patent regime. So we recommend that the federal government create a first patent program through the Budget 2019. So in conclusion, our members certainly support the government's goals of pushing Canada forward to be leading innovators in today's competitive world economy. Our recommendation of an IP box tax incentive would help spark innovation across the country through lower tax rates, with similar programs already offered at home in Quebec, Saskatchewan, and internationally, for example, in the United Kingdom. Our recommendations on the first patent program would help the startups and SMEs protect their initial IP and give them the confidence and expertise to build an IP strategy within their core business plan. Thank you.